So I was meaning to do this patch review stream like a week ago, but I had all these ideas where I was gonna do notes ahead of time and change it up from how I did it before because I felt like it was too impromptu, and then I got all lazy and whatever. So we're just gonna do it on the fly. We're gonna do it live. So the Tekken 7 Fated Retribution version D patch, aka the Master Raven patch, came out like a little over 2 weeks ago, and there's been quite a few system changes and a lot of little character changes. So this is probably maybe the biggest patch that the game has had, even counting the original FR update. So there's a lot of things to go over here, and we're gonna take some time and review everything. So we'll start with, again, before we start, this is from Avoiding the Puddle. Uh, Patch changes are done by Wonky again, as always, so always big thanks to Wonky for doing the translating work. And the interesting thing about these patch notes is that they were put onto the Tekken official website here, and for the first time, I think in any Tekken game, they're actually putting frame values and damage values, like hard data. And they've never done that before. So I find that super interesting and super useful in determining what actually has been changed in the game. Anyway, let's start with the system balancing stuff. So first off, all characters' rage status now activates when the life total reaches 25%, drop from 33%. So a lot of people were saying when FR first dropped that with the earlier rage activation, the game got a lot more random. And because you get rage earlier, and not only does that mean you have rage art, that means you have rage drive. So some people were complaining early on. I think I remember Nobi saying that the game got a little bit more random and such. And so they dropped it. They basically, let's see, 33. It's about a 25% nerf from 33 to 25. Um, I don't know if this changes the damage scaling because it used to be that the less life you had when you used your rage art, the more damage it did. So I don't know how that affects that. But if you see FR, the life bars in FR, they're mostly yellow, and then towards the end of the life bar, they get like this dark kind of orangey. And when it hits the orange part, that's usually when you get rage. So if you see old videos before this patch and videos after this patch, you see that orange part is now smaller. So that's basically the amount of the nerf amount of where you get the rage threshold. Properties on certain rage drives on hit has now been changed. I think they talk about this in individual character ones, but they had weird wonky things when you did rage arts on hit. People would change places. Uh, People would change places. A lot of some other things were like getting guaranteed stuff, changing scaling. Uh, Basically, whatever they didn't change in version C is getting covered here. But I think the individual cases are in the individual character notes. These two are pretty important to me. Corrected back walking speeds for characters to now be universal. Corrected back dashes for characters to now be universal. Um, this is a change that I thought they were going to make way earlier in Tekken in general. Ever since T6, they've been slowly sort of standardizing characters. Uh, in Tekken 5 and before, like Tekken 5 DR and all the games before that, characters had different jab speeds. Some characters had 10 frame jabs, and some characters I should say, 8 frame jabs. Like fast characters, like let's say Law and Nina and Lee and stuff like that would have 8 frame jabs, and characters like Mishima's, Hwoarang, um, let's see, what's another example? Bake. Certain characters like that would have 10 frame jabs. Um, Jack still had his like 11 frame 1 2 2 1, and Gonryu, and I think King had a 9 frame jab. In Tekken 6, they changed that, and everybody except Ganryu and Jack. Well, I guess Ganryu does have a 10 frame one jab. He just doesn't have a 1-2. But everybody had 10 frame jabs except Jack. And I'm surprised they didn't take it a step further earlier, like in Tag 2 or something. But basically, everybody is going to have the same back walking speed, which happens when you walk back. And everybody's going to have the same backdash distance. I think this is what it refers to. So I can't, it's hard to tell exactly what the universal backdash distance is because obviously when you're watching matches, people are backdash canceling, people are moving around really quickly. But this is obviously going to be a nerf to certain characters with really good backdashes, like Elisa. Um, I would say Lars has a better than average backdash. And depending on what the distance is, this might be a buff with people with kind of butt backdashes. Like Lily, I would say Lily has a kind of whatever backdash. Fang had a kind of whatever backdash. But it really depends on what the universal point is. You know, it just might be that everybody has a crappy backdash now. But again, I thought this was going to be a change they would done really early in the game, in this game's life cycle or whatever. But this is a big change and changes how movement works and such. And I'm really interested in seeing if they revert this or if they adjust this in a later patch or not, because this is a big system change. Um, let's see. Next, generic spring kicks. This is the back one plus the back 3+4 spring up. Startup frames have been made slower by 2 frames, and recovery frames on block increased by 2 frames. So ever since Tekken 7 came out, one of the biggest noticeable changes is how like the spring up kicks are really noticeably faster than they were in Tag 2 in previous games. People were using them a lot to kind of check people after getting knocked down, like people that would dash in uh, from far away, they would spring up. And if it got blocked really late, depending on where you blocked it, I think I'm gonna say I might be remembering this wrong, but I'm gonna say it's anywhere between maybe -8 or -9 to like -14, -15. So there were points in blocking that spring kick where somebody would be completely safe. And obviously now that they've made it 2 frames slower, so it's easier to react to, and they've made it 2 frames worse on block. So if it's -8 at best, I think that means at all points you're at least going to be able to get a 10 frame punish. And that means if you block it really early, like if you manage to dash up and block it deep, I think all characters will be able to launch it or at least punish it really badly. So this is going to make the spring kicks less useful. You might slowly start to see people using it a lot less. This is a bug fix. Certain moves Akuma could perform that aren't supposed to be in his move list have been removed. And anytime there's anything in parentheses, that's a wonky his own comment. But Akuma could do a back turn hop kick. He could do back turn fireballs. He could do back turn other stuff. Um, the back turn hop kick is the biggest offender because Akuma is supposed to be unique in Tekken 7 in that he doesn't actually have like generic back turn moves. Like he doesn't have like a back turn down one or stuff like that that other characters have. If he does down one and he's back turn, he just turns around and does his normal forward facing down one, or he does his normal down four sweep or whatever. He doesn't have those weird generic versions that other characters have. So I guess it was a glitch. I remember Nee posted a video on Twitter about Crazy Dongpal showing it off like back turn hop kick, which he was not supposed to have. So this one, Lily's crouch dash has been corrected to no longer allow you to do certain moves out of it by canceling it with a jump. I never actually saw this. I should have asked Kane about this ahead of time, but originally the Lily players thought that meant you couldn't cancel it at all, but you can still do crouch dash and cancel it with a sidestep and stuff. So this was probably just some weird bug and they fixed it. Changes made to how counter hits are displayed in game when they occur. They said this in the last patch. I still don't know what they mean by it. and various other system bug fixes. All right. Character balancing changes. So they're starting with Paul. Forward 4 and standing 4 properties are now identical. I didn't actually know this myself, but obviously this means that forward 4 had something different about it. Maybe it was faster, maybe it was slower, maybe it reached farther. But whatever it was, they basically fixed the move, so they're basically the same move. Just like, let's say you have a standing jab and then you have a forward 1 jab. Those are also supposed to be identical in Tekken, so just sort of a consistently change. Crushing Wind, these two changes. This is the new move they gave him in FR, the sort of the double overhead punches. So the startup frames on the first hit has been faster by 2 frames, and properties on hit with a grounded opponent also changed. And then hold recovery frames for the opponent when they block it is increased by 3 frames. So it's made first hit, the startup of the first hit is made 2 frames faster, and when you hold it, it's basically it's now better by +3. So I'm gonna look up on let's see here. I'm using Tekken right now to look up the adjusted values. Because it's been 2 weeks, so I'm assuming they've updated the frame data. So let's see here. So it's saying so back 2 is now going to be 18 frames, which is still kind of slow. So they made it faster to try to incentivize people to use it more, most likely, because it's a double mid. There's better options. You have Hammer of the Gods, forward 1+2. You have down forward 1. You have a Paul isn't lacking for mids, so it's obviously an incentivize you to try to use it more. And now holding the second hit is now saying it's +8. So that's really good. If you manage to scare somebody into blocking the second hit and holding it, +8 is super good for Paul. He basically gets to do whatever he wants. He might be able to do a demo man, and you might not be able to crush it with a hop kick. So that's a pretty good buff to the move. And obviously, it's a new move. I didn't really see Paul players using it that much, and it's an incentive. Start using this move. We're gonna make this move better. Please use it. So Gengetsu, Corsica forward 3 recovery frames decreased by 2, so it recovers 2 frames faster. Let's see here. So now it's about 18 frames 18 frames startup. So which means now it's -14 on block. And I think, yeah, it definitely used to be launch punishable, at least in Tag 2. Recovery frames for the opponent when hit with this move is decreased by 2. So, so now it's +0. I'm going to assume it used to be +2. And pushback on the move when block is reduced. Um, so basically, what this is doing is they're making the move safer, but because they're reducing the pushback on block, so they're making it safer. It's not going to be launch punishable for most of the cast anymore, but they're making it easier to punish. Most likely there were certain ranges where if they made it -14 and they didn't adjust it, some characters would have trouble punishing it. So that's basically the thing. And with this patch, I know Paul when he hit Corsica forward 3 on counter hit, he used to get a combo. He still gets the combo, but it's way harder now. So I have some videos from Twitter that Wonky wanted to show. So let's see here. So yeah, the timing is way more strict now. But if you're still good, you can do it. Alright. And the down strike. Oh wait, no, rapid fire to lightning bolt. Corsica back 3-2-3. Properties on counter hit has been changed to a new hit animation. So this is referring to the last hit of this string. And it's basically a new knockdown, counter hit, knockdown. It's not ever been in the game before, so it's big enough to consider a system change. Um, I have a video of King doing it with his drop kick. They already show that. That's in the patch notes as well, but this is how it looks like for most of the cast. Boom! And then they fall flat on their face. Show that again with this pixelated Twitter video. Boom! See, look, he just falls face down on his. And a lot of characters get guaranteed stuff off that. So that's a big change just in general because that knockdown is important enough to just consider it a system change in general. Yeah, I guess you could call it upside down bound. I just call it people getting their legs knocked out from underneath them. But a lot of characters have that knockdown now, so you're gonna see it a couple of times in the patch notes. So, and then the last thing for Paul is down strike. The opponent knock down opponent down 2. That's when he punches them on the floor. Properties on hit with an airborne opponent has changed. I don't remember if this used to spike or float before, but they've changed it. I haven't seen it in videos myself yet, but look out for that change. Alright, next is Law. So Rage Art, tracking on the move has been reduced. This is a change that has, a lot of characters have this change as well. I think they're just trying to nerf Rage Arts in general, along with the activation, life activation nerf, making it easier to deal with Rage Arts, so, sidestep them, try to get around them and stuff. So this is a change that's sort of for a lot of characters. And then his Rage Drive recovery frames have been decreased by 3 frames. So I think Law and Devil Jin used to have punishable Rage Drives, like launch punishable, I think. Let's see here. Looking it up real fast. Laws is the Dragon Tail into Legend Kick. So yeah, it used to be like maybe minus 14, I want to say, and now it's minus 11. So that's obviously good. It's a rage drive. It's meant to be like a trump card. The fact that let's say if Law did it on Brian and he got blocked, he's gonna get jet upward for it, or a Mishima can electric him for it. Doesn't feel very good. So and it doesn't even lead to a lot of damage. I mean, it has good wall carry. Like it can potentially wall splat, but compared to other characters' rage drives where they're starting uh, they're starting combos with theirs and they're like plus on block. I've never really understood why Laws was potentially launch punishable. So glad that they kind of gave it a little buff. Press and kick combo 3+4 recovery frames decreased by 2 frames. Recovery frames for the opponent when they block it is increased by 4 frames. So the first part just means that on whiff, this move recovers faster on whiff or on hit. And then the second part means when it gets blocked, it's 4 frames faster. I think it's still launch punishable. It's now minus 17, but 4 frames mean it used to be minus 21, and it's it's a mid into a high, and they made it launch punishable, even though it's a launcher and all. To be that punishable never really made sense, especially since they already nerfed it in the previous patch by taking away the ability to do it after a parry. It made it into like a really risky move. So it's still launch punishable. It's not disgustingly not launch punishable. And I'm gonna skip forward to the bottom here. The same buff happened to his wall standing 1-2. Also got 4 frames better on block. So now it's minus 13. That also used to be minus 17. Uh, now if you want to punish while standing 1-2 really hard, you're gonna have to duck it. You still can get some sort of punish at minus 13, maybe with the pushback and all, but these are moves that you should be ducking if you want a big punish, not just being lazy and standing and blocking them normally. So Dragon Knuckle combo DSS 1 forward 1 and Dragon Cannon DSS forward 1 on block. Both of these now push back further. Just gonna be I think they were, let's see here. I want to say they're still minus 14. Yeah, they're minus 14 or 13. So these are going to be a little bit harder to punish. And The last thing is Dragon Charge Kick DSS4, which is his single hit low. Properties on counter hit has been changed to a new hit animation. I haven't seen it myself, but I'm pretty sure this means the same as the King one that I showed you guys. They're not gonna fall on their face on counter hit, which means a lot of characters, I think all the characters now have something guaranteed they can get on when they get this counter hit. So basically all buffs for Law in general. Law got some good buffs. Uh, Besides the rage art tracking being reduced, and from a lot of Law players, I was hearing that they didn't think he was super good after the FR stuff came out, like the initial nerfs came out. So he's a little bit stronger now. Okay, let's do King next. Rage art tracking on the move has been reduced. Whatever. Rage drive tracking on the move has been reduced. Damage increased by 6. So the damage decrease, uh, damage decrease is mainly because King could do some really dirty stuff on the temple stage, and in general, he could do a full combo to screw, use the rage drive to get a untechable knockdown, and then go for a free ground throw mix up. So this is just trying to reduce the overall damage in general. Head spinner 1+2 1. Second hit now comes out faster. Pushback on block has also been increased. So the first part is new. The second hit comes out faster. Uh, Actually, I don't know. One of these, I forget which one of these, but maybe it was they changed it early in FR to make it easier to sidestep. Maybe they made the second hit slower and now they're reverting it. I forget which one of these, or maybe the pushback to make it easier to punish. But either way, both of these changes basically means this move is harder to sidestep and it's harder to punish on block. Let's see how bad it is in general. Kingu. Let's see, WPLP. It's -11, and depending on how much they increase the pushback, it might be incredibly hard to punish now. So this is a good buff for this move, which they had previously nerfed, and now they rebuffed. Elbow string, down forward 1-2, recovery frames increased by 1, damage increased by 3. So let's see, 3 LPRP. So down forward 1-2 used to have a little trick to it where if you did down forward 1 and then did a little delay and then did 2, it was actually safe. But if you did it as fast as possible, it was like -10 or -11. So, but they're basically taking that away and making it so it's always going to be punishable. But in in return, they're making it do more damage. So now if you do down forward 1, you can hit confirm it and get the second hit and get some more damage off of it. But you can't just do it as a block string, a delayed block string for free. Mincer low, down forward 3, down forward 4, 3, down 4. Properties on counter has changed to new hit animation. That's the drop kick I showed you guys before. That's the same thing as here, low drop kick. Jab, uppercut, down forward 1-2 recovery frames has been increased by 2 frames. So this is down 1-2. In 7.0 vanilla and for up until this point, let's see, 2-1 RP. Yeah, this used to be -9 for most of Tekken 7. And it was super good because if King was feeling pressured, this is a good option to try to get somebody off him because it was special mid-mid, safe, and I mean, the last time I think this move was safe was like Tekken Tag 1, and then they made it punishable. But now they made it punishable again. It's -11, so, there's no reason to do both hits anymore. You're just going to do a duck jab now. You're just going to do down 1 in general if you're going to do a duck jab. So it kind of sucks. I kind of liked it that it was safe. It made it kind of unique for King because he hadn't had that for such a long time. And Jaguar hook, forward 1 damage decreased by 4. Um, I don't know why they decreased it. I know the combo that a lot of King players are doing now is a lot of his standard combo stuff, but instead of doing down forward 1 2 for the screw, they're doing a forward forward one, and it looks like it shouldn't hit, but it does. So maybe that combo was always possible, and they knew it. So that's why they're, because I only started seeing Kings doing it recently. So maybe it's like a preemptive nerf because they knew it was possible and they thought it was doing too much damage. So it's 4 points. And 4 points doesn't sound like a lot, but like think of the fact that if a move is doing, let's say a move is doing 30 damage. 4 points of damage is a 10% like the nerf. It's like an over 10% nerf. Now imagine it was doing 25 damage or something like that, or 20 damage, and it's getting even worse and worse and worse. So like the numbers themselves might seem small, but proportionally, they're pretty significant. Let's say Yoshimitsu didn't get too much change. Yoshimitsu never gets any love, but he has a new move, down forward 1-4, which they gave to him, I guess, because he had down forward 1-2, which was a 13 frame wall split and natural combo, and they took it away. So this is what the down forward 1-4 looks like. It kind of just looks like down forward 1 and his regular down forward 4. It's mid mid. I don't know if it's safe or not. Let's check that out. But basically now he has a mix up between down forward 1-4 and down forward 1-3. But yes, me, there's no reason to ever duck on it unless you really see the unless you see the down forward 1-2 come out. Let's see, 4. It says it's minus 14. Wow, that really sucks. I wonder if it's. I hope it's natural combo. I mean, this is the only video I could see of it, but I hope it's natural combo. I'm kind of sad they never give Yoshi anything good. I think the character deserves to be good for one game, but that's all they gave. That's all that happened to Yoshi. So next, Hwoarang, a rage art, tracking on it reduced. We've seen that before. And then both his rage drives. Hwoarang is unique in FR right now. He's the only character that has two distinct rage drives. Both of them have had their the frame advantage on them reduced. So let's see which one. Let's see how they are right now. I didn't know. I actually did not know that the Hunting Hawk rage drive had just giving me a question mark. Let's see here. Da, 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 da. So the Hunting Hawk one is now +2 or 3, which means it used to be this one. It used to be +5 or 6, which is really good. And then the other one has had it reduced by 5, which means it must have been made a lot on that. But a lot of Hwoarang players were just they're kind of throwing out their rage drives at the end of rounds just to sort of force a mix-up, which yeah, if it hits, that's pretty good, but it just seemed too good. I mean, even I like Hwoarang a lot as a character, and I thought it was too good because you're basically getting a free mix-up at the end of the round that can potentially win you the round. So, damn, +5. That just boggles my mind of how good it used to be. If +5 and it's still probably plus. So, whatever. No more free mix-ups at the end of the round. Push hands, recovery frames increase by 4. Recovery frames for the opponent when they block decrease by 3. This one kind of confuses me because it's like a double nerf. So that means in general it's 4 frames slower, and but on block it's only uh, 3 frames worse. That's basically what this means. So Tekken is showing it as -6 now, which means it used to be -3. And this was like a 15 frame move, counter hit combo, super good. And I mean, you have to take these changes in context in the fact that Hwoarang and Steve have been considered the top two characters in the game for a good while, like the last few months. So these are just sort of nerfs in general to the top tier character. So Stealth Needle pushback on block has been reduced. This is the back one from Beck that they gave him. He does a spin to his right, I want to say, and he can do it at a flamingo as well. And it's -13, but the problem was that it had like this wonky pushback sometimes, which meant at certain ranges, if you blocked it really shallow, a lot of characters couldn't get a punish even though it is -13. So this is basically a nerf. They when they do pushback things and they don't touch the values at all, what they're saying is we like that it's -13, but we feel like characters should get more consistent punishes on this. So if you watch Hwoarang, they use this at a flamingo or in general just to get around people. It's super annoying in my opinion, and I agree with it. Making it more consistent to punish. Don't make it worse on block, but just make it easier to punish. I think is the good call for this. Left plasma blade, back three properties on hit with a grounded opponent have been changed. Um, I myself have not seen this in general. I think this used to just hit grounded, so I don't know if it doesn't hit grounded anymore or it just hits grounded differently in certain situations. Peacekeeper, this is what I like to call the Sparta kick that they gave him in Tekken 7. Frame advantage reduced on block, reduced by 2. So let's see, 6-6. Arcade. So this used to be like -3, which sounds amazing, really, for a move that you can. It covers a lot of space, at least, you know, linear space, like so you can just throw it out a lot. The fact that it used to be -3, so you're not in such a. You can still move afterward. You can still do things afterward. Even now, like going to -3 to -5, you still have options afterward. It was just like a little bit too free to just kind of use the move over and over again. Skyrocket damage decreased by 3. This is just a juggle damage nerf, so he does a little bit less damage in general. I think Skyrocket did like 30, so it's like a 10% damage nerf. Sidestep 4, frame advantage on hit reduced by 2. I want to see this here for a second. So it went from +5 to +3, still really good. Negative frames on block increased by 1, so it went from -12 to -13. Still pretty good. Basically, -13 is where you start to get characters start to get punishes that are not just their while standing fours. So, let's see here. I'm trying to think of examples. Like Claudio gets while standing 1-1. Brian gets, while standing 3. Kazuya can twin pistons if he's deep enough on it. It's just yeah, a lot of characters just start to get Lily can do while standing 1-2, just way better punishes on this. Just from one frame, going from -12 to -13, and then like going from let's say -13 to -14 is a really big deal for lows and stuff. So they made it. I don't want to say like a magnitude more risky, but they definitely made it more risky to use that move, and they did reduce the payoff on it. And backlash, recovery frames for the opponent when blocked decreased by 2 frames. So backlash is one of his power crush moves. It's high, and if it ever hit you, it put you into an automatic screw state. So it was basically a plus frame. Was it? Let me make sure. I don't want to talk nonsense here. Um, just give me 1 second. LKRK. Yeah, it was plus frames. So it went. Now it's +5 or 6. So it was a plus frame power crushing launcher. That was high, but A lot of Hwoarang players would throw this out in neutral, and if you came in with the wrong move, it would get absorbed, and then you're basically eating a combo afterwards. So they're just trying to the they're saying that the combo part is okay, but if you block it, they don't want you. It basically did too much. It still does too much in my opinion, and it should be nerfed a little bit more. But if you block it, you can try to do something afterward. Because that means this used to be +7 or +8 if it's 2 frames worse now. And that Hwoarang is such a good character in Tekken 7. So, if you notice, these are all nerfs. This is these are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 nerfs in a row. And I honestly think he's still an amazing character in Tekken 7 FR right now. We'll see how it shakes out though. If there's gonna be another patch or how he ends up being in the game overall. But honestly, I don't think any of these in general make him. It just makes him easier to fight, but it doesn't make him bad. It doesn't make him bad at all. At worst, he just becomes like high tier instead of top tier.